Okay, so this is an exercise which I'm just going to call A to C via B. So A to C, and all we're doing is we're going to say, again, shuffling the cards, if anything falls out, it doesn't really matter, just put it back in. We're going to say something happens and then something else happens. And then what I want you to do is pull another card to tell you how it happens. So for example, I end up being made homeless. And then eventually I have to move away. So how are you getting from here to here? How are you getting from being homeless to moving away? So I pull another card and find out that it's because I'm being attacked and I feel that I need to move. So again, we're expanding on a story. We're just literally, this happens, then this happens, and it's because this happens. So, for example, I just start doing a magic ritual, and then I end up messing it up. Why did I mess it up? Because I put too much energy into it. So for me, when I'm seeing this, I'm seeing the magician and a magic ritual I did. The hanged man to me makes me look like, oh, I've messed up, I'm hanging from a tree. And then this is conflict, so obviously I messed it up, and it's quite violent conflict, so I'm messing it up because I put a lot of energy into it, a lot of energy. So basically, again, this is a silly little exercise, which is this happens, then this happens, and then you're going to pause and ask yourself, why did this happen, or how did we get to this? How did we get from here? How did we get to A? How did we get from A to C? Well, we got there via B, so what's B? So whatever happens, what happened next, and why it happened. Okay? So just do that with the cards. Again, it might be a little bit confusing, so I do another one. So I end up moving into an apartment that's really high up. Then I start having visions at night. Why do I start having visions at night? So why did I get to this stage from this stage? Because I ate something that I shouldn't have eaten. So I probably started hallucinating. Okay? So what we're doing is we're jumping from one to another, and then we're trying to fill in what happens in the middle. Very often you'll get that with questions and stories and stuff like that you'll really want more information. So getting used to pausing and saying, okay, wait a minute, I'm confused here. How did we get from here to here? You know, and then asking that question is an important technique. So it's basically from A to C via B. So you're filling in a blank, if it were. And it's not really all that important in terms of what the story is or what that you're coming out with, because again, we're not applying questions to it. None of this will make sense. It's just literally what happens. Another thing that you could do is, you know, if you think of it in terms of this happened in the past, this is going to happen in the future, this is happening now. But I don't personally like that method because people get too involved with trying to make it actually reflect reality. So I tend to think of it as just some random thing happened, and then after that this random thing happened, and then we want to work out why that happened. So we're going there. So this is giving you context, or starting the story. This is going to the end of the story, so we want to find out the middle. So we've got, say, beginning, end, middle, if that makes sense. Now before, when we were doing it in other exercises, we were adding. So we were starting a story, we were putting the middle bit of the story in, then we were putting the end part of the story in. At this point, we're going straight from the beginning, straight to the end, and then you're trying to work out what happened in the middle. You see? So for this, two people were in love. It ends up with them being really, really upset. Why? Because their heart's broken, obviously. So If you apply more meaning to that and you want to get even more complicated, what you could do with this little mini story is the fact that two people were in love and were going out. It obviously ends with at least one of them being very upset. Why? Because their heart was broken. You see? So you're asking, why did this come about? Very often things will come up, well, you'll know, well, this isn't going to work out. You know, I can see this isn't going to work out. But then the client will say, well, why is it not going to work out? So you need to backtrack and you need to go backwards in time and go through the process of why it didn't work out. So again, this is an unusual kind of technique, but basically A to C via B. The beginning, the middle and the end. But instead of going beginning, middle, end, you're going beginning, end, and then backtrack to the middle. So keep doing that, just get them out, you know, that sort of thing. What you could do, if you're on bonus points, if you do decide to do this, is you could say in the beginning something happens. For example, I go on a little holiday. In the end of that holiday, I'm really happy. Well, why am I happy? Why did I get there? Why am I going on the holiday and then being happy at the end of it? Well, because I learned a new trick. What trick did I learn? I learned how to surf. Okay? So you're getting more information. Okay? So from here I've got two cards because I'm asking information. I'm asking a question essentially. You know, the first thing is that I got the holiday, I got the happy at the holiday, why, learned a new skill, what was that skill? Surfing, because there's a lot of water in here and for some reason I just figured that I'm going somewhere and surfing. I don't know, it doesn't need to make any sense whatsoever. All that matters is that you're getting the information. Now is how this is starting to add into a story. We're not really applying any specific questions, but the information is just coming, it's just coming from you. You're making things up and being confident with what you're making up. Now eventually, of course, we'll start applying and connecting with client or people's energies and we'll start tapping in, but we can't do that until we've got a framework and we're comfortable with using these cards and using ways of putting the cards down which make sense. A lot of the time they're called spreads. So the way you put the cards down and in what order is often referred to as a spread. You can use lots and lots of different spreads. We will be going into a couple of popular spreads, but all it is basically this is kind of a spread. You've got the beginning, you've got the end, and then you've got the middle. So this is a 3-card spread, and then you could have a 4-card spread. Okay, so if you can do that, then move on to the next video.